Okay, so welcome back, students. Today we will be discussing the aspects of staffing. This also can be known as components of staffing, or we may call it the elements of staffing. All these three terms are almost same. So basically, these are the three important. You can say the element, component, or the aspect. One is recruitment, another is selection, and the third is training. So we are going to discuss these three aspects, very important aspect, in detail. Okay, so before we discuss, let us first understand that what kind of relationship is there between these three things. So before we discuss about these three things, let us first understand that how these aspects would be carried on. Like there are certain things, certain factors which we should keep in our mind to decide about the recruitment, selection, and training. So these are this. The first is we need to take care that how much is the supply and demand of the specific skills in that labor market where we are working, or what is the unemployment rate in that particular market where we are working. Then what is the market conditions of the labor? This also we need to take into consideration. Then the legal political environment, these considerations also we have to take into our account. Then what is the company's image? If the company's image is good, you will get it easily, right? Same way, what is the organization's policy? Then how much is the planning cost of the human resource? How much technological development has taken place, right? And then what is the general economic environment? And there are many other factors also which will influence the way we are going to do the recruitment in our organization, the way we are going to do the selection, what would be the selection procedure, and what kind of training we can provide to our human resource. That will be determined by these factors, right? So this kind of relationship is there between these three aspects as well as the organization and the applicant. Basically, these three things are going to help people, like the organization will get the benefit of these three things, that they will get the right person, say the applicant, they will get the applicant persons, right? So applicant is who is the they are the people, no, those who will be applying for the post, or those who would be doing the work, or those who would be trained. So this is one end, applicant, the person, and then this side is the organization or the job which this person has to do. And how these people are connected. See, the applicant is also seeking for the recruitment, organization is also seeking for the recruitment. So organization and applicant are connected with this recruitment, right? So once you have applied for the job, now they will go for the selection procedure, right? And the applicant has to go through the selection procedure. Organization has to arrange the training and development program so that their skills are developed. They need to arrange for it, and applicant or the person has to go through that training. So how these are connected, this is I am showing you through this diagram. So these three aspects are what? Now when we talk about the recruitment is basically a positive process which aims to attract large number of people, with a desirable profile to apply for positions vacant in the organization, right? So can you see that how these things are connected? Higher the number of the applicants, greater is the possibility of finding a suitable employees. So in the recruitment process, the aim is that more and more people should apply for the job so that we can get the best one. Like I said, recruitment is a positive process. Same way selection is a negative process, which scrutinize the applications received and selects only those who are most suitable for the vacant positions. See, recruitment invites applications. That's why it is positive. And in selection, what we do? We reject applications. That's why it is called negative process. Now, training is another, you can say, the positive process, which upgrades the knowledge and the skills of employees, and it enhances actually the ability to perform better. See, basically the recruitment is the process of finding possible candidates for a job, or you can say the function. Or we may say that recruitment is the process of searching for prospective employees and stimulating them to apply for the job in that organization. So the process of identification of different sources of human resource is known as recruitment. As I said that it is a positive process as it attracts suitable applicants who apply for available jobs. So the process of recruitment is, first we need to identify the different sources of labor supply. These are the activities which are involved in it. If it is asked that what is the process of the recruitment, we'll say that first we have to identify the different sources of labor supply. Second is that we need to assess the validity. Assessing the validity means what? That those whom we are going to choose as the source of labor supply, how valid they are. And the third is choosing the most suitable source or sources. First we need to check the validity, whether this is valid or not, and then we'll choose the most suitable source, or sometime we use more than one source. So we will take the sources, and then we will invite the people to apply for the job, or we will invite the prospective candidate to apply for the job. So basically recruitment is concerned with listing the candidate for consideration of selection to various jobs. So it enables the management to select suitable employees for different jobs. It is very significant to point out that selection is a negative process since it involves selection of suitable candidate for the organization and rejection of other applicants. And recruitment is positive. Why? Because we here invite more and more people. As many people we will get as an applicant, the better our would be recruitment process, or the selection would be better. So now there are two sources of recruitment. One is internal, another is external. As the name itself suggests that there may be some sources of labor supply or the human resource supply which exist within the organizations. So if you are using the recruitment from within the organization, within the enterprise, we will call it internal. And if you are recruiting the people, doing the recruitment from outside, we will call it external recruitment or external source of recruitment. Now let us discuss that how many types we have in internal source. So internal sources can be further classified into two. One is transfer, another is promotion. Okay, now let us understand that what is transfer. Okay, so what is transfer? Transfer basically refers to shifting of an employee from one job to another, or one department to another, or from one shift to another without a substantive change in responsibilities and status of the employees. That is called as transfer. Correct? Same is shown here. For example, see, in banks what happen, employees are transferred from one position to another, one branch to another, right? Someone is working here, now he has been transferred to another branch or sometime another city. So this will be called as transfer. And transfer may lead to changes in duties and responsibilities sometime. It may lead to changes in the responsibilities also, working conditions also, but not necessarily salary. Sometimes it may there may be some change, like a transfer of CT has been done, then CT compensatory allowance is given. So that may be a different thing. And the job transfer also helpful in avoiding, you can say, the termination, or in removing individual problems and grievances. That is also possible, and we can do the transfer. For example, suppose there are two people who are working together in same department, but there is a lot of conflicts between two people. So the higher authority, the management, can decide that, okay, let me transfer this person to another branch, and we can save both of these qualified people in our organization. This is possible. Otherwise, one may leave the job. So transfer is taken in this kind of situation also. Now there is one more reason, that suppose there is overstaffing in a particular department, and there are some department where people are not there. So we can transfer people from this overstaffed department to that particular department where there is less people. Take an example, like a clerk is working in finance department, and where he is not required now. Already there are two clerk, and this third one is also there. But in other department, say marketing department, there is no clerk, or only one clerk is there, and he is having lot of work. This is overburden. So this person can be transferred to marketing department, and in this way we can justify it. Yes, one more thing I would say here, that while doing this transfer, the management must be taking into this consideration that the employees to be transferred is capable of performing the other job. Otherwise, this transfer would not be having such this transfer will have no meaning. Like the whole life, one person has worked in a particular department, he does not know anything of the other department, and if you transfer him, the person may not perform there. So that also we need to take into consideration. And then one more thing, the transfer sometimes helps to the employees in getting the training also. Like one is working in a particular department, and now he has been transferred to another department, so he will learn the skill, the work of another department also. So that is also the benefit of the transfer. Now let us understand about this happy employee. He got promotion and he is very motivated and satisfied also. So now let us understand about this promotion. What is it? See in this picture what has happened. These are the 7 people working on a particular level of the management. Now this person has been promoted. So at a higher level. This is called actually promotion. So it refers to shifting of employees from a lower level position to a higher level position. Correct? And definitely with higher responsibilities. The more facilities would be given to that person now, and his status also will be improved, as well as his pay also will be improved. Take an example. The vacant post of general manager can be filled through promoting the branch manager to the position of the general manager. Or earlier who was working as a marketing manager, now he has been promoted as the general manager. So basically promotion is a vertical shifting of employee. It helps to improve the motivation, loyalty, and satisfaction level also of the employees. It has a great psychological impact on the employees, because a promotion at higher level may lead to you can say a chain of promotions at lower levels in the organizations also. Because if one person has been promoted, like he has gone up here, so from someone from the down the line will be shifted here, so one more person will get the promotion. So there will be a chain of promotion in the organization. Getting it? This is also one of the example of promotion. Now, if you have to understand the difference between the transfer and the promotion, this way you will be able to understand it very easily. See, in transfer, what we do, we transfer the people from one department to another department, one job to another job. So it is horizontal in nature. Getting it? So this is horizontal in nature. And promotion is what? This is vertical in nature. The person is going up. In promotion, one who was working here, he has been shifted to another level. Okay, now let us take this example, then you will understand it. Suppose the person who was working as a production manager, he is being transferred to another department of the same level. Like production manager has to work as a finance manager. Correct? So this is horizontal. Correct? So this will be considered as the transfer, like one department to another department. Same way, finance manager has been shifted to marketing manager. So this is also transfer. Now marketing manager has been shifted to production department, and now he will be taking care of the production management or the production department. So this is also transfer. But if this person, finance manager, is being promoted at the post of the general manager, we will call it promotion. So this is vertical, and all these are what? Horizontal. Got it? Okay, now you can take the screenshot of this, and this also will help you in understanding this, that what is the difference between transfer and promotion. Though it is not the part of your syllabus that you need to understand the difference between transfer and promotion, but yes, it happens sometime in the objective type of question. The question can be asked that what the difference between transfer and promotion is, that it involves horizontal movement and this involves ... fill in the blanks. So you can immediately write that there is involve vertical movement. Correct? So this may help you in preparing for your examination, and so keep it with you. So we have discussed that there are two sources of recruitment. One is internal, another is external. Now if what are the sources, what are the types of internal sources? Two, we have discussed that. Now we are going to discuss what are the merits in the internal sources. And as I mentioned that whenever you are writing the headings like this, you must write a statement and then you should start with the heading. So the first heading says that motivation. When I say that the advantage of internal source is that it motivates employees, it motivates human being, it motivates the human resource. What does it mean actually? See, the company policy of filling the higher positions by promoting people within the organization motivates employees to improve their performance and upgrade their knowledge and skills to prepare themselves for higher position. If people know that I can be promoted further, so they will work on improving their performance. So this actually motivates the employees to work better. Take an example. Mohit Yadav is a sales executive and he just has graduated from the college. And so he has the degree of graduation only. Now his sales manager informed him that if he achieves his target, he would qualify for a promotion. So with an aspiration to become an assistant manager, Mohit Yadav not only works hard to achieve his target but is also pursuing an MBA degree from an evening college or from a correspondence college. Distance learning, through online learning, he is doing this now so that his credentials also get improved. So this is actually going to motivate the employees. Second is that internal source is very simple because you have not to follow any process of selection. It is, you know, the people who are in your organization, so it is very easy for you to recruit from those people. No? So you can do it very economically. So basically internal recruitment simplifies the process of selection and placement. The existing employees have already been through the basic selection process, so you know about them, and the transfer promotion do not require any screening or testing because you have their performance appraisal with you. On that basis you can decide it, and it involves selection of only those people who possess the required capability and they can meet the necessary criteria. Correct? Yes, the third one is that it's a tool of training, the internal source. You remember while I was talking about the transfer, I mentioned this, isn't it? Like the transfer can be used as a training tool to help employees learn new skills to perform different jobs and then upgrade their knowledge and skills for higher positions. So that is a training. That is kind of training. Next is that you can maintain the optimum level of staff. Like transfer and promotion, it facilitate the use of capable staff of over a staff department by shifting them to department where there is shortage of staff. So this will help to avoid the termination or removal of capable staff. Correct? And then it saves the cost and time also. By filling the positions within an organization, it reduces the cost of recruitment and selection. So the employees who are transferred or promoted are already familiar with the organization. So there is no need for induction, there is no need of orientation or training for them. Correct? See, my dear student, of course, promotion or transfer, or you can say the promoting or the transferring the employees within an organization makes the process simpler and less expensive. It motivates people. We have the satisfied staff. These are, of course, some of the advantages of internal recruitment, but there are certain limitations also, certain disadvantages also of this. What is it that an organization may face while using the internal source to fill the vacant position? So now let us talk about that limitations and disadvantages also, or the demerits of internal sources. First, again, see this line I am writing again and again so that you don't miss it while you are answering the question. First one is that you get the limited choice. Why I am saying so that you get limited choice? Because if an organization fills the position using the human resource within the organization, naturally it will reduce the scope for induction of fresh talent. In addition, the organization has restricted choice and has to compromise with talent or capabilities of employees. Getting it? And then it says that you may have a danger of inbreeding. Correct? What is inbreeding? See, if you go in the dictionary and you search for this word, you will come to know about the genes and plants and animals. So please don't get confused. I am giving you the exact definition of this inbreeding. Basically, in context here, I'm saying that it's a situation when managers look for employing clones of their current effective workforce. So their staffs can look homogeneous because all candidates there were selected using the same narrow, probably non-professional selection criteria. So there is a danger of inbreeding into it. And you know, sometimes this using the internal sources only will promote nepotism, casteism, and all such type of things also. So beware here. And the second one is that the employee may become lethargic. See, if they know that they will automatically get time-bound promotions, so why people will work? You know what happens, that filling position using the internal sources basically restricts the competition from qualified candidates from outside. So what will happen? The automatic promotion policies hamper the competition spirit among the employees, and then this is not suitable source for new enterprise. See, one organization which just has started, how they will get the people in the same organization to promote? If they promote, then from where they will be bring. So this is not suitable, like transfer, promotion. This is not very suitable thing for the new enterprise. Already working organization, it is good. The internal source is possible, but for a new organization, this is not possible. Is this also, I already have explained this, but it actually reduces the spirit of competition among the employees, as there will be no competition from the outside world. So because they themselves would be comfortable with each other, so there is no someone new has come in the organization, then the existing employees will have a fear, will have a spirit of competition with competing with others. No, so the people become, as I mentioned, that they become lethargic, and then it reduces the productivity also. So when I'm saying that it reduces the productivity, basically what happens that if you keep on transferring the people frequently, so if they keep on, like I said, that transfer and promotion sometimes make people to understand, to learn new things. But if people keep on learning, then when they will perform? So frequent transfer of employees sometimes reduces the productivity of the organizations. Correct? So next day we will talk about the external sources of recruitment. Okay.